What's going on, everybody? Here we are, the Canary News Talk live stream pre-stream. I'm just giving you a heads up. You are missing out if you have not taken your phone out. Texted the word, just the word, no exclamation, no nothing, the word canary to 877-740-3226. That's just canary to 877-740-3226. You'll just, that puts you on the text message alert system. We'll just send you a little notice when we go live so you never miss a show unless you really want to. And that's okay. Sometimes you're busy. But y'all know you're getting unsubscribed from YouTube channels without knowing it. You're not getting notifications when you really want them. It's just a tough world for anti-narrative things out there. And you might say, well, this other channel, I get all their notifications. They're allowed to say whatever they want. Yes. Are they funded by corporations? Do they sell advertising? They probably do. Just saying. So don't miss a show. But here's the thing. The best part, the most fun part, the reason people actually join the text message alert system, besides the masterfully crafted texts that I, your best buddy Basil, sends out on my own, my very own, is you can text us back at that number. That's right. You text us back. I read them all. I can't carry on a conversation with you because it's very expensive, but I see them. Sometimes I read them on the air. Keep an ear out for your area code, because 623 just says, Lord bless you, brothers, in Jesus' name. Thank you very much. 661 says, happy Wednesday. Still watching and chatting on Twitch. Our poor Twitch, dude. 743 says, hope everyone is having a blessed Wednesday, my dudes. Who else? 424 says, big storm coming. Please pray for the one hitting my family right now. We will do that, 424. So everybody right now, take out your phone. The show's about to start. Text Canary to 877-740-3226. And then text me. Say hi. But it's time to start the show, folks. Trump's Liberation Day trends as Elon plans a DOGE exit and Tesla stock swings. Newsmax surges after a guest revives Genesis 6 on air. Nephilim back in the spotlight. We told you so. New documents reveal FBI gag order on the Hunter Biden laptop story. And once again, the EU warns citizens to grab the granola and prepare for war. Elon calls humanity a bootloader for AI, while digital resurrection raises moral alarms. This is Canary News Talk, and the show starts now.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary News Talk.
You're listening to Canary News Talk. Today is April 2nd, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 829, and today it's Liberation Day. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of The Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape in the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's immersion phenomenon, liberation or liber-exit. Is this liber-exit?
Oh, that's good.
Has anybody called it liber-exit?
That's fun. It's like a play on the naming convention of, I don't know, European malcontents, right? That's
yes,
what we're doing.
I think at some point somebody will pick up liber-exit and it'll be a thing. Just putting that out there.
Well,
You're
an eye
welcome,
out for
politician.
it. I mean, we call these things over and over. It's
I know.
Again, if it's not that they're watching the predatory elite class, the rulers of the world, if they're not watching the show, they at least have their their hive mind AI idea machine plugged right into the show, which makes a lot of sense, honestly.
No, we have access to the chronovisor, if anybody's wondering. Was I
You
not supposed to
know,
say that out loud,
I
or
was
I
gonna
guess I was?
say,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
we had kind of moved into an era of the show where people stopped bringing up the fact that we had early access to the chronovisor, and it was kind of starting to hurt our brand a little bit. But thanks, Gons. I guess we'll just move right back into the
Just
Canary
reset. Just
Cry
hit the
Radio,
reset.
guys. Time travelers have the chronovisor. CIA shills. They can see into the future. It's the only possible way that they can make call after call. There's no way that they're able to predict the futures and the exact movements of the predatory elite class in such a way. Oh my gosh, they're too good. We should give them so much more money, and we should tell all of our friends about them. And goodness gracious, now we got to deal with that again. God's
I
best
like this
podcast I've
character. I
ever
like
listened
this.
to.
I like this avatar you've created of this listener who is mad
Yeah,
about
the,
us.
the ironic listener who's so mad that we're right about everything, and they're so mad about how much they love the show and produce the show, and just like it's irresistible. That's why they're kind of irritated. Is it's like, ugh, I don't even get to choose to like the show. It's just so good and so perfect, and they're so right about everything all the times. It's irritating. I
Okay.
get it. Big shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert program. Shout out to area code. Listen to your area codes, folks. And if you're not on the list, get on the list. Text Canary to 877-740-3226. Everybody else is doing it. I mean, you hear it every episode and you're like, maybe I'll do it. And I'm telling you, don't be the last one on the list or else you'll be a rotten egg. 225 text says, hey, Basil, I'll be able to catch the live show. I'm graduating nursing school in May. Please pray for me as I begin my job search. I've been through the entire program without getting the shot emoji. I trust that God will put me exactly where I need to be, but additional prayers are always appreciated. Love you guys. Thank you very much, 225, and congratulations. You know, nursing, we're going to need nurses when society ends. You might not think, and
The
I mean,
knowledge
sort of,
that nurses have.
right, the
Very
skills, the
valuable.
actual
Yes.
practical skills, very
Yes.
important stuff. You know, unfortunately, you know, the nursing, and I've learned this from nurses and nursing students, is the nursing industry is so screwed up and they're taken advantage of pretty regularly, which is, you know, not a great way to be treated after you spend, I don't know what it is, 5 years or something becoming a nurse. So anyways, God bless you. We will pray for you. 505, and congratulations. Good job. Find yourself a place to land in the apocalypse, and you'll be a treasured commodity among your apocalypse squad. 505 says, I've been listening to you guys for like 15 years, and I'm about to catch my first live. Let's go, boys. Jeremy
Wow.
from the Buy Their Fruits podcast. Hey, there we go.
How's it going?
What's up, Jeremy
Welcome.
from the Buy Their Fruits podcast, listening forever. First live, congratulations. He says, P.S. If there are any Canarians in Albuquerque, find me on Facebook and let's meet up. Jeremy BTF podcast. See, folks,
NM.
it could be you. This is how you're going to find the people that matter. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. I'll be reading some more messages later on in the show.
Sounds good.
Let's see here. Okay. Oh, well, I'll just say this. We can keep things moving quickly because we are on the value for value model, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, NGOs, nothing like that, which means that the platforms have no interest in letting people find us. Organic reach is almost impossible. Notifications, subscriptions, they don't care. They can't make any money off of the show, which is really unfortunate for us because they don't like telling people we exist. But we're on the value for value model, which means with your time, your talent, your treasure, you can keep truly independent media alive. All you got to do is think, have I gotten value out of this show? I have. Oh, goodness gracious. How much? Then you put your own number on it. You put your own whatever on it. It's yours to decide, because the value for value model is the one and only way to truly separate ourselves from the sort of apocalyptic Babylonian beast system worshiping mammon amongst other bloodthirsty false gods on this material realm. But the value for value model is a little bit more biblically inspired and Christ focused, bringing value directly to people, individual human beings, instead of corporations commoditizing their brain, their time, their attention, etc. You get the point. So you can become a producer of the show by going to canarycry.support. I was just about to skip the executive producer section, but Gons, we are skipping it no more. Let's thank our executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. The executive producers are those who come in. They support any individual episode with $100 or more, and that's why we thank them here at the top. And I'm going to start out by thanking an executive producer who just came in, just in the nick of time, and that is producer Chelsea S.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chelsea S. I don't see a note come in yet, but if you send one in during the show, I will keep an eye out for it. We can read it. Chelsea came in for $111. 111.
1111111.
Which is a good reminder for anybody if you want to produce the show financially. If you come in with a nice round number, a nice simple round number on the ones or the fives or whatever, that's you saying you'd prefer us, not to disclose the amount. But if you don't mind us disclosing the amount, or indeed you want to have some fun, make it a funky number, 111, put 33 cents on there, 77 cents, something like that. And that's you telling us it's okay to disclose it. So thank you very much, executive producer Chelsea S.
Chelsea, yes, thank you very much.
And of course, I am going to, if any more executive producers come in during the show, I will thank them as they come in. But
okay.
I think we'll start right there. Remember, it's not too late. It is the producer apocalypse across the board with value for value shows like ours. And so this is the opportunity to step out in faith, stay joyful in the face of certain doom, or at least uncertainty, like we are called to in the scriptures, and trust that God's got everything under control. So it is Liberation Day. It is April 2nd. It is an economic historic moment, according to Trump. So who knows? Maybe things will change, Gonzo. What do you think?
Golden age. Well, it's going to change in a couple hours when Trump gets up there and starts showering gold from his UFOs across the world.
That's right. Should we just jump right into it?
Let's do it. Oh, I was going to actually make sure people know to go to canarycry.support.
Oh, yeah.
Canarycry.support.
And we are entering the new age, as Trump has said so many times.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent. They're coming after me. The greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk. Doge.
It's Liberation Day, Gonzo.
Yeah.
On another note, it's kind of funny. I mean, Liberation Day, Trump has announced about a month ago, earlier this month. Just on a side note, the Texas Senate has officially voted today to name March 23rd Pakistan Day. So
good.
Congrats, Texas. You have Pakistan Day. But today is not that day. Today is Liberation Day. Coming from CNN here, Trump's Liberation Day tariffs are about to be announced. Here's what to expect. And I want to play this little report they have here at the top.
Oh, video. Okay. I was not prepared for video.
President Donald Trump could
Why is it so quiet? Is it quiet for you?
It sounds good on my side.
I cannot hear it on my end. Why? Unmute would probably do it, huh? There we go.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's try it again.
President Donald Trump could reshape the world economy when he unveils his new tariff plan today. Here's an inside look at that upcoming announcement at the White House. Now, I'm told that the president spent much of Tuesday huddled with his close trade advisors, tariff policy advisors, really up until the 11th hour, finalizing, or as the White House said, perfecting this announcement. But so much of the key details are still unclear, in part because there was really these last minute pitches that were coming in, but also because this is by design. They want it to be veiled in secrecy. Now, this announcement is going to be made in the Rose Garden. It's his first event there. With it comes the pomp and circumstance we know the president likes for these types of events. But one of the things that's been very notable about that is it was initially scheduled for 3 p.m. and then was pushed back to 4 p.m. I say it's notable because 4 p.m. is after the markets close. Now, many people are worried about what this could mean for consumers. How will it affect them? Our trading partners, of course, figuring out what exactly this could mean for them as well. Hopefully we'll have more details after that announcement.
So what is it? What's going to
huddling.
happen?
He's
what's going to
huddling.
happen? It's secret.
with his advisors to still figure out the details. I mean, as they say, finalize the announcement, but it's so secret and nasty. He's waiting until the market's closed, cloaked in secrecy. I love how the mainstream is like, oh, you added a journalist to a chat about some military action. Oh, you guys don't know how to keep anything secret. This is a national threat. And then, you're sneaking around with your economic advisors cloaked in secrecy. Make up your mind. You want to know all the bloody details or you don't? So CNN writes here, President Trump's Liberation Day is here. For months, Trump kept businesses and nations across the globe largely in the dark on his tariff plans. That's why everybody was reporting on the tariffs and the numbers
been the most
and running.
Loud thing. Okay. Largely in the dark. Maybe CNN has been left in the dark.
Yeah, they just haven't been
on
paying
purpose,
attention.
on their own accord.
Eyes wide shut. That his tariff plans that revolve around what he refers to as, quote, reciprocal tariffs. He refers to them as reciprocal tariffs. This is his special project name. No, this is the reciprocal tariffs. You tariff us, we tariff you. That's reciprocity. Trump is a big reciprocity guy.
Yeah.
But on April 2nd, he's promised to answer at least some of their burning questions. But Wednesday likely won't relieve businesses that have been craving certainty. What have I been saying about certainty, folks? These businesses, they crave it. They can't get enough. Since Trump's November victory, rather, it'll open a whole new can of worms as countries respond to the new tariffs and countermeasures on American goods, setting the stage for a new phase of negotiations that could escalate an already bitter trade war. Although Trump told reporters on Monday night that he settled on a tariff plan, White House advisors were still presenting options to him on Tuesday, just hours ahead of his self-imposed deadline. They're very good at doing their job over there at CNN. They can take the most boring sentence and turn it into quite the conspiracy.
Yeah,
among the plans being considered were customizing tariff rates for each U.S. trading partner, levying tariffs on certain countries but not others, or imposing a flat rate as high as 20% on all imports. One White House official told CNN that they didn't believe Trump would arrive at a decision until the hours before Wednesday's 4 p.m. announcement ceremony in the Rose Garden. That's what he's doing.
Yes.
He's going to make
So
an announcement.
He's going to announce it. Yes.
He's not going to announce it until he announces it. And he's
so secretive. His secrecy is mind-numbing.
What Trump ultimately decides to announce on tariffs will be, quote, effective immediately. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Tuesday that is logistically dubious. But if that is the case, other nations will have little time to negotiate and could respond by immediately imposing countermeasures such as retaliatory tariffs. Yeah, I think we can count on that. I think that's sort of the whole point.
Well, they've already started. Some nations have already shown their card a little bit of what they will do. So.
Well, it's the emotional sort of first order thinking that CNN is paid to put out there, which is don't think about it. Don't look into it. Just just know that it's bad. We tell you it's bad. We say scary words like secrecy and it's bad. And so go respond. Go key up a Tesla or something. Come on, fight the power. This declaration of Liberation Day was an interesting bit about the whole thing for Trump. And he's been using this for a couple of weeks now, like April 2nd. It's Liberation Day. This is the day we'll be free from unfair trade practices. And it sounds very patriotic, sounds very mythopoetic. It sounds like we're building some, uniting mythos here. We got Independence Day, now we got Liberation Day. Trump does a pretty good job of really making an event out of whatever he wants to make an event out of. Now, interesting, Liberation Day, just from Wikipedia. There's a Liberation Day Wikipedia entry. And this is just to note, of course, we know Trump is a masterful chaos magician. Modern magicians wield language to create illusory realities to control the world around them. And Wikipedia is one of those wonderful tools. So Liberation Day, not to be confused with Emancipation Day, it says. For the 2025 U.S. tariffs, see tariffs in second Trump administration. For other uses, see Liberation Day disambiguous. So apparently somebody thought it important enough. Actually, you can actually see who edited the thing the last time. Oh, usually they took it off here. Anyways, so they're like, oh, people are searching Liberation Day. You're not going to find that here. You find that at tariffs in second Trump administration, and it links. But it says here, Liberation Day is a day, often a public holiday, that marks the liberation of a place. Similar to an Independence Day, liberation marks the date of either a revolution, as in Cuba, the fall of a dictatorship, as in Syria, or the end of an occupation by another state, as in the Netherlands, thereby differing from original Independence Day or creation of statehood, while in Italy commemorates the victory of the Italian resistance movement against Nazi Germany and the Italian Social Republic, puppet state of the Nazis and rump state of the fascists, culmination of the liberation of Italy from German occupation and the Italian Civil War in the latter phase of World War II. So this choice of words.
There's like a palette of colors to paint
yes,
this
there's a
new American Liberation Day. I like it.
Invocation,
Yes.
an anti-fascist, anti-Nazi, a day where you are free. What did they call it? The fall of a dictatorship.
Yeah,
Liberation Day.
They're running
The
it back.
the end of an occupation by another state.
Yeah.
Liberation Day.
Yeah, everything is liberation.
So it's
huh?
all there. Very big deal. And it then gives a list of countries that all celebrate a Liberation Day. And to make it easy, it's pretty much every country except for the U.S. They did way down at the bottom of the list. You can see they added the United States of America 2025. Oh, that's interesting. They put it on January 20th. Declaration by
2025.
President Trump during his inaugural address, Liberation Day. Huh. So there's apparently a couple of Liberation Days.
They're only a couple months apart, apparently.
One is January 20th.
Trump's creating a loop. Be careful, everybody. We're going to be stuck in a wormhole.
A
loop.
recursive loop from
Yeah, it's going to be April
Liberation
2nd,
Day to Liberation
January
Day.
2nd, and then we're just going to repeat these 3 months over and over.
I noticed they didn't add the new Liberation Day. I mean, it might say something that the official Liberation Day wiki account
Right.
has Inauguration Day, January 20th, declaration.
Yeah.
But
They
as
don't
Liberation
acknowledge.
Day.
They don't acknowledge this Liberation Day as a Liberation Day. Does this mean that Wikipedia is complicit with those who control or occupy or do not want to lose the revolution at hand?
It is funny. There is sort of a soft admission from the inclusion of January 20th as a Liberation Day that Trump's inauguration marked the end of a revolution, the fall of a dictatorship, the
Or the
end of an
beginning of a
occupation
revolution.
by another state. It's all there. So, it's more than just kind of a thing. We got to remember to put everything that Trump does in the context of some sort of wizardry that he, of course, is very good at wielding. Now,
Just before we go on, though, real
Sure,
quick,
sure.
just on the tariffs themselves, going back to that CNN article. So the EU, the other countries reacted. They said they're all going to have retaliatory plans. I think China said that they would counterattack. Israel made a different approach, it says here. It announced that it would cancel all of its tariffs on U.S. goods on Tuesday.
That's how you do it.
Becoming the first country to do so since Trump's reelection. The move was likely intended to put the country off the president's radar, though Israel had only a limited amount of tariffs on U.S. exports. But yeah, it's trying to be the Pied Piper there a little bit, Israel.
Yeah. Well, and zoom out,
Yeah.
because we see the federal government instituting criminal, I don't know what to call it, penalties on anti-Semitism.
Penalties,
This
yes.
is something
Right.
that a lot of, the whole anti-Semitism thing is very interesting. It unites a strange, collection of people on the left and the right. Both, the leftist podcasters and the wild right-wing, quote unquote, extremist podcasters.
Yeah, the
They all
extremes
are
meet.
going like,
The extremes meet in the whole anti-Semitism
exactly, which
pocket. It's very interesting, and it completes the circle.
exactly. And so there's obviously some sort of conversation going on behind the scenes. You got Mara Gaza. Trump wants to, occupy Gaza, which he seems to think is the only way the war can end. And Israel, of course, has a long-standing secret history with the United States. And it seems like my hunch is that Israel leading the charge, responding in the way that Trump wants everybody else to respond, being the example of how to stay in the good graces of the United States, whether or not this is sort of like forced by, Trump's negotiations or whatever. It's, a reflection of two peas in a pod, America and Israel.
Of course.
It is obviously the signal to this is what Trump wants to happen. This is what you should do. And if you don't, you're going to have to face the consequences. So on this Liberation Day, we also got some pretty big news coming out about DOGE, Gons.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
This is coming from Politico here. Trump tells Inner Circle that Musk will leave soon. So it seems
Missed that
that
one.
the country is it's a little bit earlier. The country is going to be liberated from the occupation of Elon Musk, the oligarch, the dictator. It's time to liberate the country from this crazy man. President Donald Trump has told his inner circle, including members of his cabinet. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good part of the inner circle. That Elon Musk will be stepping back in the coming weeks from his current role as governing partner, ubiquitous cheerleader, and Washington hatchet man.
I didn't know those were all official titles. that
Yes,
he
those-
wielded.
yeah.
I'd- ubiquitous cheerleader and Washington hatchet man. I'd want to put that on my resume for sure.
Exactly. Now it says the president remains pleased with Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency initiative, but both men have decided in recent days that it will soon be time for Musk to return to his businesses and take on a supporting role, according to 3 Trump insiders who were granted anonymity to describe the evolving relationship. So, it's mutual. It's not, there's no animus. This is just two men deciding that the relationship has gone its course and amicably going their separate ways.
Yeah, he installed the software. You're good to go. Well, yeah, he doesn't need to run the software. He just, ripped out the old software, put in the new one. There you go.
Couple paragraphs
Boom.
down here, it says one senior administration official said Musk is likely to retain an informal role as an advisor and continue to be an occasional face around the White House grounds. Another cautioned that anyone who thinks Musk is going to disappear entirely from Trump's orbit is, quote, fooling themselves. Now, this has been funny because other outlets covering this, they all quote Politico reported by Politico. This is what's happening, reported by Politico. But they all are having really a really fun time being like, Trump and Elon, they're breaking up. Trouble in paradise.
Right. D-Day.
Trump is kicking out Elon because he disrespects whatever, blah, blah, blah. The transition, the insider said, is likely to correspond to the end of Musk's time as a special government employee. And this is the detail that nobody else likes reporting. A special status that temporarily exempts him from some ethics and conflicts of interest rules. That 130-day period is expected to expire in late May or early June. So, as we know, Elon's position could only last for 130 days. At a time, there's discussion if he could renew it, blah, blah, blah. We don't know. But, there made this big news. Oh my gosh, soon, could be a few weeks, could be next month. Musk is out of there. You're going to be free, liberated. Yeah, well, we're coming to the end of the 130-day period. Like, this is when he was going to leave always, anyways. Now, if he leaves at the end of this month, which it sounds like he is, that puts it at 100 days in the 130-day position. But all things considered, it makes sense that he wouldn't need to stay for no reason. A little bit further down, it says, Trump, however, had already started easing the glide path starting more than a week before the election. Including at a March 24th cabinet meeting where he told, so the election he is referring to the Wisconsin judge. The Wisconsin judge that Elon was putting a bunch of money, $20 million, in to help this judge win his race. He showed up, he put on a cheese head. He did some campaigning for this judge. He was kind of trying to pull a move like he did with Trump to help get Trump elected. That judge ended up not winning. So as we wake up today, it's kind of a new day where Elon sort of failed to pull off an election thing like he did with Trump, which kind of signals, perhaps that his time has run out as far as effective.
Yeah, he's lost his political pumping power. He can no
longer... Seems that way.
Yeah.
Trump, however, had already started easing the glide path starting more than a week before the election. That's that judge's election, including at a March 24th cabinet meeting where he told attendees that Musk would be transitioning out of the administration, according to one of the insiders who did not attend the meeting but was briefed on the comments. So the long story short here is that waking up on Liberation Day, this is obviously part of the plan. This is part of the spell. This is part of the impact that they are trying to build, the momentous occasion for today, April 2nd. Knowing that Elon was going to step down for many weeks, but saving it for this day in particular, the day that the tariffs would take place, the day when global markets would sort of be forced to respond. I had some more stuff highlighted here. It's just quotes about Trump, being so impressed, loves Elon, laying it on thick that this is a mutual decision and that they love each other very much and they always will.
Great. Good times. Good run.
We're mounting the importance of Liberation Day.
MSDS and Rumble, so much for Z Fort Knox audit,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Haven't heard
Where's
anything
the Fort
about
Knox? I mean, hopefully that's like the big mic drop right before he goes out. He's like, check it out. I'm in Fort Knox. There's nothing here. And then I'm out.
It would be fun. It would be a fun way to go. Liberation Day. I'm pretty convinced. I mean, we know that Trump is going to make announcements later today, but I think today we should keep an eye out for some pretty intense live breaking news. Now, just a quick mention, Gons, because everybody is worried about the stock market, the global economy. We're all worried. The tariffs, of course, going to everything crash. The uncertainty. Oh my gosh. Well, we woke up this morning to the news of Elon leaving DOGE. NBC reports here, Tesla shares rise on report Elon Musk could be leaving DOGE post soon. The bullet points are, is at its session lows, it had dropped as much as 6.4% on the back of weaker than expected vehicle deliveries for the first quarter. The report, which cites Trump insiders, noted that President Donald Trump is pleased with Musk and DOGE spending cuts have been pushed through. The two decided in recent days that the billionaire would soon return to his business. And it says here, the stock today. Yeah, you have something. Comment?
I was just gonna say his business, which is basically to digitize your brains, to the metaverse.
Right.
But I digress.
So the stock was last up about 5%. That's this morning on the news that Elon was leaving Doge. Tesla stock jumped 5%, which is quite a bit for the stock market.
Are they going to stop burning Teslas now that the news is out? Is that part of it maybe to protect the people?
It's apparently what the Tesla investors think. They're like, oh, thank God. He's not going to be Doge guy anymore. They're going to stop burning Teslas. Things are going to go better. Now, a quick note. AP this morning. So we have NBC, ABC, CNN. They're all reporting on the 5% bump to the news that Elon is leaving. AP, however, Associated Press, the ones who got kicked out of the White House, a very malicious relationship with the White House. Their headline says, Tesla sales tumble 13% as Musk backlash competition and aging lineup turn off buyers. And, they're talking about sales falling 13%.
Yeah, not the stock.
Well, this came out today, so this is obviously an attempt to distract or put out a counter narrative. I say Tesla sales fell 13% in the last 3 months. So they're making a big deal there. However, if you do, let's see, they're making me do this again. If you do a quick little search for 3%, let's see here. It got rid of my highlights. I apologize. Oh, did they get rid of it? Oh,
I don't
so
see
this
3%.
Yeah, so this article originally made a big splash about saying how on Wednesday the Tesla stock fell 3%. They go, oh, it fell 3%. They fell 3%. And I'm looking at other reports and they're saying, oh, it's up by 5%. It's up, it's up, it's down. Is it up? Is it down? Well, they were pushing a big deal about how Wednesday it had dropped 3%. They now have taken it out of the article. Thank you very much for that, for blowing my story, AP.
The thing with markets is that a price of a stock or sales or whatever, it goes either up or down.
Whoa, that's crazy. And sometimes both.
Sometimes both. And sometimes.
So what I did was I go, what is this? And I'm like, what do you mean 3% up 5%? Which one is it? If you want to pull up that Yahoo stock chart that I have there, Gons.
Yahoo stock
This is interesting.
Is it in the show notes? Oh,
yeah,
there we go. Yeah,
it's in the show notes there. You might have to widen the time zone. Zoom out on the time zone a little bit.
Zoom out, okay.
Yeah. There you go, right there. So you can go back to 8 a.m. this morning, or 8:30, 9:30, something like that. Whenever the markets opened on Liberation Day today, this morning, you can see that Tesla dropped immediately in the span of 1 minute. In 1 minute.
Yeah, look at this dump. This is crazy.
It dumped, I think that's the 3% that dumped. So
$268
on Liberation Day
to $252. So yeah, a $15 dip in a couple minutes.
Yeah. On Liberation Day, the day that the tariffs go into effect, the market opens with a huge plunge on Tesla. So this is some sort of, major investor, or, combination of activist investors all at once on the day trying to make a splash about Liberation Day, Tariff Day. This is obviously a motivated, politically motivated investor activism dump, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then the news came out right after that
V-shaped
Elon was
recovery, baby.
That's right.
V-shape.
It's almost like they saw it, they had it in their pocket, they were ready to put it out whenever, because as an immediate response to Elon leaving Tesla, you see here that the stock price shot up.
It's at 280 now. It went from
making up-
250 to 280 today. It's a $30
Exactly.
move on a stock. That is
A
crazy.
huge
That's a
10 or
humongous
11 or
move.
13 per, not it's about, what was it, anyways, 5, there's something over 5%, some huge swing for the stock market. So I think we're watching some pretty, elegantly planned economic moves. Whether or not it was the plan to announce his departure or not, this seems to have sort of turned things around. And it's not very often that you can look at a chart and just watch like conspiracies play out right in front of your eyes.
Oh,
but it was very interesting.
Yeah, I think this is this type of situation is what people in Web3 are starting to really recognize is, the news cycle, certain influencers saying this or that, and then watching the charts of assets move. This is just on a bigger scale, obviously, with Tesla, with the stock here, with, what is it, $1 trillion? Is it less than trillion, the whole thing? What's the whole market cap of Tesla? It's pretty big.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's at a huge scale. So somebody got really, really rich shorting it, and then they got really rich pumping this thing from 250 to 280 in an afternoon. So, yep.
And
insider.
We didn't dive too much into this, but part of what it looks like was the attempt was to crash Tesla stock to a point where it would trigger some pretty nasty things for Elon. He purchased Twitter based on loans that Tesla stock had put up as collateral. So Elon was in this position.
Down, it can liquidate his position. Okay, interesting.
If Elon stock, if Tesla stock dropped down to about 140, this could have caused a margin call on Elon's loan, where he would have had to sell a huge portion of Tesla, which would have crashed the stock even more, and it would have crumbled the Elon empire.
The downward spiral of the Elon empire.
DOGE, yes.
Yeah, no way.
The whole empire would have collapsed. Now, this is another reason why we saw XAI suddenly, mysteriously, and almost unannouncedly, XAI purchased Twitter. So, this was all part of the economic gains for Elon to protect himself against a pretty well orchestrated attack on the empire of Elon. But there's a chance I think we see, there's obviously we've come to a fork in the road in the wilderness here. And one of them is the sort of attacks, the domestic terrorism on Tesla ceases because it no longer, the plan won't work anymore. He's sort of taken that apart.
Yep. Putting out that flame. And they're not the only ones, though. Look at these opportunities making cash in the market. We should have maybe I should have not bought any crypto ever. And just bought Newsmax stock because apparently, according to CNBC, shares of conservative cable channel Newsmax soar another 179% after massive debut. And what is it talking about here? Well, shares of conservative Newsmax shares have risen more than 1,500% since its Monday debut. They went public on Monday. When it opened at $14 per share. It closed at $233 per share on Tuesday. Whoa. 33, there it is. There's your signal. And we couldn't help but identify, I guess, or recognize, or I don't know, just see that.
The noticing continues.
Notice that Newsmax, we had just played a clip of the Friday Night Guy. I'll play a few seconds here if you guys remember. This is Friday, I guess the weekend before they went public on Monday. So this is, if you're a weekly Newsmax guy, you're finishing your week talking about the pyramids and then the Nephilim.
All right, sometimes we get a little weird on Friday nights. Usually it's about aliens, not this time.
And then, they brought on this David Harris guy who didn't answer the question about the pyramids. All he did was rant about the Nephilim. Do you remember this guy from the last episode?
Yeah.
So so they do that. This guy goes on a huge rant about the Nephilim in Genesis 6 in the Bible. And then on Monday, the stock soars, Basil, 15,000%. From a price of $14 to $233. How come we talk about the Nephilim? None of our portfolios.
Well, this is the curse.
Skyrockets 15,000%.
Yeah,
what's the deal?
This is the curse. They were at Newsmax. They're very tuned in to online culture. They're looking around. They're seeing Sean Ryan. They're seeing Joe Rogan. They're seeing everybody suddenly just smitten by the concept of the Nephilim, talking about it all the time, and seeing those guys making $1 million over it. And so they go, oh, well, we're going to go public on Monday. This is a pretty big day for us. How can we guarantee success? We'll end Friday night with a talk about the Nephilim. Bring it on, baby. And yeah, I mean, really an impressive, I don't think I've seen an IPO with such an impressive chart as Newsmax, of all places. Newsmax going public, making, 2,000% instant bajillionaires. Instant bajillionaires.
I will say, though, the chart looks like a meme coin chart. It is dumped down.
That's
it is
pretty
down
normal.
Down to what is it, 60? Yeah, I know. Anytime anything launches,
That's an
it goes
IPO
up.
for you.
IPO. It's down to $60. So yeah, people are selling. They're taking profits.
Somebody made $1 billion.
They made a lot of money from this thing, going from 14 to two. Looks like it peaked out at like 260 or something. So. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I guess changing of landscapes. I guess Christianity is the new tech or new religion for Silicon Valley. And those venture capitalists. So, I think anytime they hear Nephilim or any kind of Bible thing, they're like, just throwing money at it.
That's what they say.
We're not the ones getting money thrown at. So, all right.
Well,
there you go.
Just as while we're on the topic of calling it, Gons, we gotta figure out. A lot of these stories, they've been kind of happening recently, and we haven't really covered them because really all it is just confirmation of what we've known for years, and it's interesting because again, we'll see social media light up, we'll see sometimes mainstream news will light up, but alternative media will certainly light up at these stories because it's content, it's something to talk about, and it's also a reference to a more I'll say funded time, a more economically Wild West, green right and to the up and to the right chart for alternative media, which was, of course, COVID days, which also include Hunter Biden's laptop, all these things that somehow everybody was right about at the time, but are spending lots of time, I think, in a way to sort of try to relive the glory days of alternative media, 2020, 2021, which I think we can all think back and really think like, oh, that's when alt media was saving the world. That was when it was persecuted, and those who, marched on faithfully to tell the truth, getting canceled, getting destroyed. And turns out we're all right about pretty much everything. So everybody gets an opportunity to go back and talk about it. This is coming from the National Review. FBI imposed gag order on analysts who told Twitter Hunter Biden laptop story was real. So some new documents came out, Gons, and the documents show very specifically some chat logs. There was an attempted FBI whistleblower to come out and say, hey, what's going on? What about this Hunter laptop thing? We gotta we gotta, get this out here. It says here, the FBI silenced an employee who tried to tell Twitter the Hunter Biden laptop story was real on the day it came out, newly released chat logs show. On October 14th, 2020, the day the New York Post first reported on Hunter Biden's laptop, the FBI told employees, quote, "Do not discuss the Biden matter," and imposed a, quote, gag order on an analyst who tried to confirm the story's veracity to Twitter during a meeting, according to chat logs released by the House Judiciary Committee. An FBI official with the Bureau's Foreign Influence Task Force, Laura Demlow, previously testified that an analyst on call with Twitter confirmed the laptop was real before an attorney for the FBI told the social media platform it would not comment further. So this, I think, is a result of Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the new leadership at the FBI, finding these documents, putting them out there just as a fun opportunity for everybody to say, told you so. So, told you so.
Called it.
As another fun one, oh my gosh, we didn't even bring a link for the Argentinian document release that confirms Hitler fled to Argentina. Hello. It's a big day. Malay released the documents from Argentina that at least confirm the suspicion that there is a relevant suspicion that Hitler did flee and arrived in Argentina and had 2 kids. So that's fun. Good job, Argentina.
I mean, it's a logical thing to have happened, and also, as far as I understand, the locals in Argentina has been known for decades.
Yes,
it's just been known. It's just
there's
not
whole
even a question.
little German towns that are built like German towns in Argentina. It's a whole thing.
Right. Well, it's at
yeah,
least the rest of the world gets to know.
Called it.
Is there any conspiracy theory in the last 50 years that hasn't turned out to be absolutely true? I mean, of course, besides the the CIA shill influence operation that comes in and tries to, infect the quote unquote conspiracy theory groups with bad ideas. I don't know. But one by one, all of these pretty old school conspiracy
These
theories
are old
too.
school. Yeah.
These are old school.
It makes me wonder, because the question we ask around here is, what are we being distracted from, quite often.
Yeah.
So I do wonder what kind of operations are playing out right now while everyone is distracted and celebrating or whatever, going down these rabbit holes for the first time maybe, and learning about these different conspiracy theories or, these declassified documents, these topics that are decades old, starting with JFK's assassination stuff coming out a few weeks ago. It's just all these different long-standing conspiracies. It makes me wonder, what are they doing right now that we're going to learn about in 30, 40, 50 years?
Well, what's the commonality? What's the commonality between all these things?
Nazis.
They inspire. Yeah, that is part of it.
It's Nephilim all the way down, baby.
They're inspiring and confirming the skepticism of the establishment. Every single one of these things coming out confirms, yes, you were right to not trust the official story. You were right to not believe the government. You were right. You were persecuted. Some of you were even prosecuted. But every single step along the way, if you were a, quote, tinfoil hat person, you were correct. You were correct. It's certainly building momentum towards some sort of golden age, new world order, reimagining of America, the technate, the North American Union. Every one of these little things that confirms the distrust people had in the official narrative, is one step closer to the new establishment, regaining trust. We saw the World Economic Forum right there in Davos saying we have a trust issue. Nobody trusts us.
Right.
And, all of us went, yeah, so stop lying. They basically were like, nobody trusts us. So how can we lie to them so they believe us? And people go, well, you just stop lying. You just start telling the truth.
No,
it's that
they just
simple.
start bringing in the people, everybody that likes or hates the WEF, bring them in to speak.
Well, the point, they did try
Merge
that.
them
Yeah.
in.
But what we see here is whatever this techno-populist movement, which is around the world, but specifically in the United States, they're like, yeah, okay, we know exactly what to do. We'll feed into the distrust. We'll confirm everybody's worst, theories about the establishment so that we can build from the new, order out of chaos. It really is building trust.
It is. It's a trust building and crashing game with the population and harvesting minds, souls, perhaps. But what I also, if we just logically sort of follow this trail of every establishment thing that you thought was real wasn't true. Elon did post the other day a quote post of somebody who said, with all the stuff coming out, it makes me wonder if any of history is real. And Elon said something to the effect of like, I have some similar thoughts. And if you follow this trail, and it's great for a little while, right? Because it's hey, all the conspiracies, all the things we talked about over the years, it's confirmed, yada, yada. But then if you keep going down, it's like eating dessert, it's good for the first few bites, it's delicious, but as you eat more, it's just bad for your body, and then eventually you're just forcing yourself to finish, this cake or whatever. I think where this is leading to is the debunking, quote unquote debunking, of the monotheistic faiths in some way, not in like
the alien deception.
It's part of the alien deception that it's
the aliens
official narrative. All three official narratives of monotheistic religions. They all had some parts right, but here's the truth, everybody. It's the Palladians or whatever it's going to be, right?
No, it's absolutely the great deception that researchers who have been coming on our show talking about for forever.
Right. So that's where I see it as like, yay, a win. Put a W in the whatever, but also just be careful because you're just asking to, if you're asking to tear everything down, then you're asking certain pillars of truth to also be challenged. Which, by the way, the biblical
we know it's going to happen. I mean, we've read the end of the book. We know the exact thing happens.
And the biblical truth has been challenged for thousands of years, not just in the last 5 decades with the internet or something. So there's that. But then also once new information or information from the quantum realm or AI that finds some kind of more efficient way to civilize. When those types of things become doctrine, that's going to also challenge these old ways. And then if you're not going with the new way, we got to get rid of you. You're like an old virus. You're like Cobalt, the programming language. You're obsolete. We must get rid of you. And that kind of makes sense in the Revelation 13 context of the saints are conquered. It's like, they're in the way. Got to get rid of them. Take the mark, or you don't deserve to live in this new society that we're building, this golden age.
So speaking about not trusting the government, Gons, I covered this when it first had inklings on Basil's Bunker a few months ago, but a new clip has been put out by the EU. And I think it's going to be a very important thing. Oh, I didn't open the link. Give me the link. This is coming from, what's this gal's name here? Can you see it in the post?
Oh, I don't see the post.
Here. Sorry, pulling it up.
Video.
This is from Next A. What's in my emergency survival bag? EU urges all residents to prepare a 3-day emergency survival bag.
Ooh,
that's the message from European Commissioner for Preparedness and Crisis Management, Haja Labib, that's a fun name, Haja Labib, as she unveiled the EU's new preparedness strategy. The bloc is bracing for future crises, from blackouts and natural disasters to hybrid threats. So more of this social engineering going on in Europe, which is an interesting place. I've talked about it before, where, trust in the government is unusually high, at least by American standards. And the idea, actually, there were lots of laws against preppers, against preparing, against, I think in some places there was laws about how much food you could keep in your house. Of course, Europe is well known for their more sort of social focused government, both in independent nation state levels, but also more importantly in the the European Union ethos. I think it was a couple months ago, maybe even 6 months ago, where they first came out in response to the war in Ukraine, like, we're getting ready. We're going to have to draft people. You better prepare. Well, we got a nice piece of media that came out here from Haja Labib, and we can all watch it and laugh at it.
It's Haja Labib. Welcome to What's in My Bag Survival Edition. First up, my
pause
glasses.
real quick.
Super important.
So, for those who are listening, it's Haja Labib sitting on a couch in sort of a bougie-looking office space, wearing a periwinkle power suit, and the bag that she is referring to is just like a woman's purse. It's just like a small leather purse. This is her go bag here.
Modern backpack for prepper bag is just a purse.
So remember, the real communication is in symbols. It's in the visuals, okay?
Objects,
so just listening is one thing. I apologize, but the visuals, we'll point out the important visuals here, because the symbols is where the real engineering comes from. Periwinkle suit, strong yet friendly, sitting on a couch in a nice office, not scary. She's not in a bunker. And she's going to be pulling out her survival gear out of this little purse here. Let's try it.
It's Haja Labib. Welcome to What's in My Bag Survival Edition. First up, my glasses. Super important if you want to see what is happening or not. Next, my document in a waterproof pouch. A must in a rainy Brussels. Now, let's talk about...
Show us the papers. When war breaks out, Gons, you want to have your glasses and you want to have your papers.
About lighting. I have a flashlight. If you don't forget the matches and, of course, the light.
That is a big box of matches.
A
You
giant
carry
box
that
of
around in your
matches.
purse?
Yeah, it's a lot of matches. Now, I mean, it's fun because she compares it to the tiniest flashlight you've ever seen, and then goes to this gigantic box of matches. But if you back it up a couple seconds, this next part is very interesting. She pulls out a lighter.
Yes. Here you go.
Turn.
Okay, why is this not...
Why is it not letting you back up?
It's not letting me back up.
I know, we're trying to land her joke here.
I know.
It's Haja Labib. Well,
okay, hold on. We got to start it over. I don't know what's going on.
now, let's talk about lighting. I have a flashlight. If you don't forget the matches and, of course, the light. Turn.
A weird moment.
Funny joke.
A weird
light.
moment.
Is that like is her Illuminati symbol moment there? Like
I
the
think
light.
so. I think there's a weird Illuminati moment because she says flashlight, matches, or a light. And she pulls out a lighter, lights the lighter, holds it up like kind of like a Statue of Liberty,
Yes,
Lucifer bringing the torch of freedom.
Well, not up in the sky, but she's definitely holding it in front of her.
Holding it up sort of meaningfully. And in this moment of silence, just sitting there like, don't forget the light. And then, everybody in the office laughs. Presumably that's the production crew who's laughing behind the scenes. And the idea is that she just, so she has such good comedic timing and is so lighthearted about this warning of nuclear war.
This warning of
Yeah,
prepare for when war breaks out, just to Good time. Yeah,
She's
there
having
you go.
so much fun with it that she symbolizes this Lucifer bringing fire, bring the light.
Yeah.
What is the light? It's knowledge.
She's the light
It's
bearer. She's bringing
it's
knowledge, yes, from this magical bag.
and everybody laughs. Very fun. Okay.
And water, of course, because water is life. And my special friend, a Swiss Army knife. 18 tools in only one knife. A must-have.
She does not look like she knows
So,
how to use it. Is that part of this joke here?
Exactly. This is the joke. She pulls out the water. She drinks a small bottle of what looks to be sparkling water. She says, whatever, the stuff of life. And
Water's
she waters
life,
a
yeah.
plant next to her,
Yeah. I
which is
noticed
kind
that
of a
too.
weird, kind of flippant way, like you're going to need water. But then she waters the plant as if, in
With
the
sparkling
apocalypse.
water.
Yeah, as if in the apocalypse, care for the plants too, not just for you. And then yes, pulls out this Swiss Army knife, a gray one, and fumbles and fiddles and talks, and like she's obviously never touched. I mean, the impression that she's giving is like, oh, well, it's a knife, that's kind of scary. And of course, there's knife laws going into effect in Europe. And, knives is a little bit of a funky topic right now. It's kind of like, the US government coming out and saying, make sure you have your Glock 19 ready and plenty of ammo.
Right.
But of course, it's put into this context of like, no, it's a Swiss Army knife. It's not for stabbing or protecting yourself. Ooh, I don't even know what I'm doing with this. Ooh, fumble, fumble, fumble. And then she pulls out like the bottle opener and kind of waves it around kind of thing. Just very, very sort of, again, implying that like, hey, this is a very big deal. Nuclear war's coming. You're not going to survive. You need 72 hours. Here's what you got to do. Get ready, get prepared. But in this lighthearted, jokey, I mean, even the music behind it.
Right.
It
That's what I
sounds
was
like
going to mention. I was going to mention the sort of bar. What is it?
Yeah.
Like Western bar
Old,
style.
old-timey saloon, almost
Saloon,
like
yes.
Disneyland, old-timey saloon, Hollywood
Which
cowboy
is not
movie.
serious. Yeah, like a fun, joking kind of atmosphere. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't forget your medication. You might need it.
Gee, what did you have there? She got like 50 little things of pills.
Yeah, that's how most pills are in the...
Medication. You might need it. Because you never know. And don't forget something to eat. You might be hungry. Very hungry. And of course, some cash. In the middle of a crisis, cash is king. And your credit card might just be a piece of plastic, a charger, and a power bank. Because a dead phone.
Hold on. I'm starting to be very skeptical that all this fits in her purse.
Yeah.
There's
you're
no,
get-
there's
you're
no
getting the
way
joke.
all
Yeah.
that stuff fits in the
It's all
purse.
very small stuff too.
Yeah, but-
Yeah, she says bring some, get some food, pulls out a granola bar, another granola bar, another granola bar. It's like, oh, I'll bring a lot of food. You're going to need a lot of food.
Mhm, and power supply for dead phones, and then
Is a dead end. Playing cards, bit of distraction, never hurt anyone. And don't forget a radio. The smaller one. This is everything you need to survive the first 72 hours of a crisis. Speaking about being prepared, the EU is preparing its strategy to be sure that every citizen is safe in case of crisis. Be prepared, be safe.
wow.
And at the end there, yes, talking about, again,
Stuff
after
set
this
into a
very
backpack.
lighthearted thing, because it's kind of scary. And they did put this out. They put this out a couple months ago about, be prepared for 72 hours. And it was very sort of scary. It was very sort of intense. People are people are convinced, they're very seriously convinced that there is a threat that Russia wants to take over Europe. That's, and so they've been very intense about this in the past. So it looks like in this particular instance, they wanted to communicate that, hey, we're making a plan. Don't worry, we're working on it. We'll keep you safe. Because, yes, that's what the government is really worried about. Not continuity of government or existential, crisis as far as the power of the state. Yes, individual ladies in their living room putting granola bars in their purses. They're here for you. At the end, she does trade out her purse for an EU branded sort of bug out bag looking thing and puts everything in there, which I'm expecting they're going to sell this as a product. I got to get my hands on one of these EU bug out bags. It's a good marketing.
It is good marketing. What is that triangle? Is that a symbol of something?
I really don't know. I'm assuming it's sort of a symbol of the Crisis Preparedness Management Commission or something. But there you go, EU. Don't panic. Stay in your periwinkle suit. Have fun with it. Don't learn how to use that Swiss Army knife too well. But hey, we're looking out for you. Just be ready. Just be ready for 72 hours.
Excellent. Thank you, EU. Which EU, by the way, also, I guess it wasn't the EU. It was the European Central Bank. We'll talk about them in a little bit here. They had something to say about artificial intelligence. It's always good when a central bank says something about artificial intelligence and your life. It's always something to pay attention to. Are we going to thank some producers? Do we have any producers to thank?
We've got a couple of producers to thank. Yes.
Right, awesome.
But yes, the value for value apocalypse continues across the board. But thankfully, we've got monthly producers who are saving our butts in times like this. We really appreciate it. This is something that I think everybody should consider. Just across the board. I mean, we participate in the value for value model, Guns, you and I, with shows that we gain lots of value from, particularly ones I'll admit, I don't give to shows who also advertise to me because, hey, you're getting those advertising dollars. I don't know. Maybe I have the wrong attitude. Maybe if I, more regularly gave to shows who also advertise to me, maybe they wouldn't need to advertise, but what can I say? I can be a little bitter sometimes. But not here. We're on the value for value model, which means there are zero corporate incentives, corporate interests, and corporate dollars keeping us alive. We are entirely funded, entirely sustained by people who are putting value back into the system with their time, their talent, or their treasure. And people who sign up for any amount of monthly producership, God bless you. It is times like this, precisely times like this, that the monthly producers are needed more than ever. I mean, they're required anyways, but this is the moment, Gons, where we go, oh my gosh, thank God for the monthly producer. So I would encourage people to consider, if you're regularly getting value out of the program, whether it's just the show or the community or the friends you made along the way, or whatever it is, consider, what would it be like if Canary Cry was not in your life? What would it mean for you to help it stay in your life? And you get to choose that and come in with your time, your talent, or your treasure, all sorts of different ways to participate in the cycle of value, the way that God intended it. And of course, you can go to canarycry.support to learn more all about it. But we had a few people come in to support this episode individually, and someone who signed up for a monthly producership, which is very important. So
boom.
We'll thank them right now.
Before we start that, I do want to mention here let's see, wrong comment. Psalm 40 in the chat said, every other pod I listen to has ads. CCNT has spoiled me. The ads are physically draining.
They literally are. They are literally and spiritually draining. But absolutely, I won't rant about it here. If you're new to this show and you want to listen to me rant about that, there's plenty of opportunities in the past and on the way. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And we believe that the value for value model alone is a spiritually consistent way to do it for us. But we got some producers coming in to support the show. Thank God for them. Starting out with the one, the only Sir Marty K, not of the wrong timeline.
Sir Marty K coming in. Thank you.
Yeah, it comes in for 2222. And he sends a little note here, the subject line of which is Hail Hydra. And he says, this is in response to the video from last episode he sent. He says, don't you yell at me in that one, young man, or in that tone, young man, lol, and stop self-censoring yourself, Basil. You are your own prison guard. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I am my own prison guard. I also I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube again. Unfortunately, not because I love YouTube, but because if we do get kicked off at YouTube, 99% of listeners will not come find us on Rumble. So I would say you're my prison guard, Sir Marty. But thank you very much for the producership. It means a lot.
Sir Marty K also came in with talent, so I feel like we can just knock it out right here because he has a note. He says, are you trying to cast an evil spell or hex on me with your suspicious hand movements, Basil? Getting called out over there, Basil, on your hand movements. I see your trips to Burning Man has taught you well, my young Darth Basilius. LOL. 50 seconds, but I can stop it at 40.
Yeah, this is a clip from last episode when I was moving my hands around while speaking here, for those who are just listening.
Why isn't it playing? Oh, because it's... Oh, okay. It starts off showing the comments, the chat, and he highlights Rob, who came in and said, someone should clip that, literally, the first 2 seconds after they were questioning what it contained. Haha, hilarious. How come I can't hear anything? What is going on? Can you hear it?
No.
Then I did. There we go. Not vet this. Did you vet this, Basil? This
yeah. No, but he claims that it doesn't have any bad words.
Oh, good. Nazi.
Oh, you can't. You can't. Marty. You can't have Nazis and swastikas.
So what you're seeing is Basil's hand movements to this eerie sound.
That's me responding to the video that he started out with a big Nazi symbol. And then this is the audio from, I believe, Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And you can't hear what I'm saying, but you can see my hands moving like this.
Okay.
That is the scene where the weird temple guy tears out the heart of
very famous
poor henchman. Yeah.
Yes, very famous scene. Thank you, Sir Marty K. Appreciate all of the ways you produce the show and help us.
That's
culture.
Right. All sorts of ways. Could never replace you. Thank you, Sir Marty. Next up, we got Cage Rattler Coffee is on a 14-episode streak.
Hey, a streak. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Go check it out, folks. Maybe you are unable to participate in the pure form of the value for value model by returning value to the show. But if you drink coffee, you got to drink coffee anyways, which means you got to buy coffee. We recommend get out of the habit of just going straight to Starbucks every day. You could 10x your money just by purchasing coffee on your own, making it your own. Also a good skill. Consider it an apocalypse skill building exercise, because when society collapses, looking at you, EU, you're going to need to be able to make your own coffee. So it's an opportunity to build some skills. The Cage Rattler Coffee, a producer-produced, producer-owned, producer-roasted coffee company where, hey, it's competitive prices. It's the best coffee in the world, or so I'm told. And if you're going to buy coffee, you might as well support the show at the same time. A portion of every purchase comes to produce the show. And that is exactly what happens now. 14 episodes in a row. We've come to the point now where people are they're having to repurchase round two. People are going for it. And they love it. They just keep coming back. See, that's a good sign, God. It's a good sign. CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. I'm sure we'll read some texts of people loving the coffee later on in the show. I gotta start screenshotting the coffee texts when they come in, because I keep losing them. People text about the coffee all the time. But just know, people love it and they're good. CageRattlerCoffee.com. Yep. Okay. Next up on the list, we have, oh, you know what? God bless. We have some people who actually increased their monthly producership. So Ernesto, Ernesto, who's been a monthly producer for $1 a month, has just upped his. So thank you very much, Ernesto.
Thank you, Ernesto. I appreciate you.
Yeah, this is actually another, maybe we should invite people to do this as well, because, if you're coming in for $1 a month, I mean, that's a huge participation, consistent participation. But if it looks like, upping that a little bit is in your budget, the more people who do that, I mean, that is money in the bank. Like, that is really important. So we invite people to do that. Also, producer Lita did that as well over on the Patreon. Yeah, I appreciate that. Both of you. Runk Smash is back and signed up for the supply drop.
Hey, Runk Smash. Thank you.
Yeah. CanaryChristSupplyDrop.com. Go check it out. Oh my gosh, we just got a text message. Again, I need to be better at recording these things when they come in. But we got a wonderful note from, I believe, a foreign producer who, just a heads up for the overseas producers, we are not allowed to send the fire starting striker in the mail because it's considered flammable. So we apologize, but you should have gotten something else to make up for it in there. But 716 says, but still the best supply drop yet, in my opinion. We'll be using those seeds for the Three Sisters setup too. Everything else was neat. Great theme. Keep it up. Best buddy Basil and producer Hatman, Gons, etc. in Jesus' name. That was from Canary Kev 716. Thank you, Canary Kev.
Thank you, Canary Kev.
Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Oh, well, let's see here. One just came in, says the supply drop has landed. Yo, Daddy Basil and Sensei Gons, it is I, Sir Menace Sensei, Knight of the Samurai Babies. The supply drop has landed. I repeat, the supply drop has landed. My wife and I saw your Basil's Bunker emergency starter kit. And we kid you not, the packaging looks like beef jerky snacks. So sorry. We got a little disappointed. Haha. But nonetheless, it wouldn't be a bad idea for a future supply drop. I could do some Basil's emu jerky. That's possible. Maybe emu beef jerky. Oh, yeah, good idea there, Sir Menace Sensei. Have a great show, guys. Catch you on in the potty, as someone else said in the other day. Thank you very much. There you go. CanaryChristSupplyDrop.com. It's very fun for $33 a month. It is our most popular, recurring monthly producer program. And every quarter, you just get a big package full of really fun stuff, creative expressions of what a Canarian is going to need, what they will need to survive whatever is coming next, and chock-a-block full of artist designed, producer produced goods. And we try to stick as much stuff in there as well that is made directly by producers. That's like some people's producership is if they make a product or they whatever they do. They'll make it available for the supply drop, and that's very cool too. So anyways, CanaryChristSupplyDrop.com. I encourage as many people as possible, not only because it supports the show and supports other producers of the show, supports the parallel economy of the show, but also makes the show available for people who are not able to produce the show. So thank you very much, Runk Smash, for getting back on the list.
This is fun!
Oop, that is the wrong jingle. Here we go.
Waiting for supply drop.
Yay!
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to mention in this section? I would like to take a second to recognize some text messengers, if there's anything else there.
Text messages.
Shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. And all you got to do is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you can send us messages whenever you want.
There you go. That's right. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. You'll get notifications, but the fun part is you can text that number back. I can't carry on a conversation with you because it's pretty expensive, but we see them, we read them, and keep an ear out for your, I keep wanting to say postal address, but that's not it. It's your, what is it called?
Mailing address?
No, the numbers on the phone number.
Oh,
area code. Area code. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you got to stop time traveling. You're losing parts of your brain.
It's burning my brain. 651 says, hello, this is Merlot of the Sevens. Oh, Dame Merlot of the Sevens. I'm currently in Israel for the week. I wanted to give a shout out to the Hayovel group that I'm touring with. They are very involved in the local Israeli communities. If anyone knows about the Israel Guys YouTube channel, you may have an idea. I'm falling behind on Canary Cry episodes, but I'll tune in when I'm back in the U.S. Good night. Good night to you, 651. Wow, what a time to be in Israel. Oh, that's very interesting.
I had a person who just
let's see.
Do you not hear me? Is there a delay? What's going on? Are you still there? Hello.
I'm here. There must be a delay. I'm here.
Yeah. No, I was talking to somebody who knows somebody who's in Israel who just got basically ambushed by Hamas, and he got attacked. He got a big old cut on his hand. And the story goes, he had to take this guy out, this individual that attacked him. He had to, end his life. And he's okay, but I was like, whoa, that's really intense. That is a very intense
was this
story.
on October 7th, or this was
no,
separate?
This is like in the last couple weeks. So
crazy.
Yeah. So I'm hearing
sounds like a
different
rough place
stories
to
out
be.
there. Just I don't know why you're hanging out there to begin with, but yeah. That's prayers for all the people out there. It's dangerous places, dangerous times, and
dangerous
as much
world.
As you want to talk about the conspiracy or whatever it may be, just bottom line, just be careful if you're in that area. And I think people in that area know that. So,
and be careful if you're driving a Tesla, because that can get pretty wild too.
Yeah.
281 says, oh, cool. This really works. Hi, guys. Have a great show. Moni B. Thank you, Moni B. Apparently, first time on the text message alert system and loving it. 573 says, just catching up on Monday's episode in regards to Trump and the AC. Maybe, just maybe, it's barren. Worth consideration. Yes, we've explored the barren. I mean, he is as tall as a Nephilim and shows up, of course.
He's as tall as a tiny Nephilim.
He's, what is he, like 13 feet, something like that? 360 says, so much Canary. I love it. Bellingham, Washington meetup, anyone? Okay, this is maybe the second or third Washington person who has requested a meetup. So, Washington people, get on it. This is Incognito 907. FYI on Basil's new favorite word, substrate, I'm assuming you meant. In certain contexts, I've heard matrix used as a synonym. Let the analysis begin. Yes, substrate and matrix can be synonymous in certain contexts. So there you go, folks. It's a good time. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Keep an ear out for your area code. And have a lot of fun. One last one. 832 says, bless you guys. Pray for all of us in the path this line of severe weather. I'll catch the replay after Wild Crocodile. Oh, after a Wild Crocodile. It's from Soylent Green. Thank you very much, Soylent Green. Okay, one last one.
People.
I gotta say, because this comes from 915, and this person says, last time you mentioned another person in 915. I'm surprised. Ears open, 915. You got 915s all over the place.
Ooh.
All right.
There you
go.
Find each
Do
other,
it to it,
915.
folks.
Thank you, everybody. Okay. Are we ready to move on?
Yes, Jared is looking for people in Vancouver, Vancouver Canarians. That's Washington, right?
Vancouver?
Washingtonians, you're all over the place, man. Have
I thought
some meetups.
Isn't Vancouver Canada?
I think it's one of those ones that's split, right? Isn't it split between Canada and the US? There's a Vancouver, Washington, and a Vancouver, British Columbia. I think. I don't know. I'm the worst person at geography. How would I know, Gons?
I mean, you might be right, but I have never heard of that before. I thought Vancouver was straight Canada, but could be wrong. I don't know.
I think it's one of those ones.
What
All
do
right.
I know? I'm just a city boy. Cabana city boy. All right, here we go.
Necro-capitalism.
Profiteers of death.
Capitalism.
Haven't played that necro-capitalism jingle in a while. This story that I'm about to talk about, it's an article. Yeah, everyone's saying, Basil, I don't know where you got this idea that Vancouver is
I just
half
looked it
in
up.
America. Is there a
I'm
part
looking
of
at it
Vancouver
right
that
now.
isn't? Okay,
Yes,
everyone's saying
Vancouver,
Canada.
Washington. So booyah, all you fools who don't think there's a Vancouver, Washington. I'm the smartest geography man now. Vancouver is a city on the north bank of the Columbia River in the U.S. state of Washington, located in Clark County, founded in 1825.
Okay, but
Sorry,
is that
suckers.
is that the same as the Vancouver in Canada, or is it a different?
It's
Vancouver?
the fourth most populous city in Washington state.
Okay, but that's not answering my question. Is it?
Well, look it up. Look it on the map.
I'm trying to find a map.
There's a
of it.
Vancouver, Washington. There's a Vancouver, Canada. And believe it or not, Vancouver, or, oh, this one's in, wait, what? Oh, yeah. Wait, why is it showing it in Portland? This is showing it in Portland, but it says Vancouver, Washington state. Portland is not in Washington, right? Right?
Portland is
I'm not crazy,
Oregon.
right?
Portland is in Oregon, yes.
This one looks like this Vancouver is on the border of Oregon and Washington. Okay.
That's not Canada.
Sure. Yeah, but I just said there's a Vancouver, Canada. There's a Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
It exists.
Vancouver, Washington, and Vancouver, Canada are not the same place. They are two separate cities. One
Never
is
said they were the
located-
same place.
You said it was like a half of a thing. Like it was half America.
Well,
half
you know,
Canada.
I hadn't looked at it on a map, but I knew there was a Vancouver, Washington, and a Vancouver, British Columbia. They just happen to be further away from each other. Although now I'm looking at the map of Vancouver,
this is
British Columbia,
It's
and it
described
looks
as
like they
north of
are connected.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Blaine is separate. It's a city that is separated by the border of Canada and
Despite sharing
Washington.
the same name, they are 300 miles apart and in different countries.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I hear
so
you. But
so
they
we were
exist.
both right.
I hear you.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, look, there's types of people in this world, folks. There's those who are amiable, and there are those who are analytic. Amiables prefer to just, have a good time, keep the peace, and be liked. Analytics are the type of people who will sacrifice anything to make sure that people know that they are right, even at the expense of being liked. I'm just saying those are just some facts in the world, and you can apply them to any situation you want throughout the day. Those are just some other details, a little Basil fact there.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, here we go.
Mhm.
Let's do this one more time. All right, we're going to talk a little necrocapitalism in the context of a article from a Christian outlet, which I think is interesting. All being set up, we talked about Elon leaving DOGE in a few days, and could it be for him to pursue his true passion, which he somewhat outlined here in a post on X. He said, "As I mentioned several years ago, it increasingly appears that humanity is a biological bootloader for digital superintelligence." Mind telling the non-coding audience what a bootloader is, Basil? Or non-computer
Yeah,
literate?
bootloader. Yeah, in for all of our younger people who maybe were born after I don't know, iPhones existed or something. Old
Right.
school computers, really old school computers, when you wanted to turn them on, you actually had to have a floppy disk, a disk that you inserted into the computer that contained the data needed to even, start the computer, to load the
Right.
operating system was run on a separate little disk you had to put in. So it's kind of like the core data needed for the hardware to even come to life.
Which is the context of, hey, we are just the humanity is the biological bootloader for digital superintelligence, meaning you plug us into the supercomputer and you get digital superintelligence. Is that
Yes,
the takeaway
that's
there? Great.
the basic coding of human intelligence is so insignificant that it's just used to spark life into AI, and then we're not needed anymore.
Right, right. Well, the topic of AI is becoming very theological. I think it's a sentiment that you and I had identified very early on in the conversation of, AI talking about AI was very sci-fi 10 years ago when we started, 12 years ago, 13 years ago when we started, 14 for the Face Like the Sun channel. We're getting old. But now it's a product. Everyone's using it every day. And, the implications here are rapidly becoming more cosmological or theological. This is coming from saltandlight.sg. It's like a faith outlet here. And they have a headline here: "We can now digitally resurrect anyone, but should we? The moral and theological issues behind cybernetic reanimation and digital necromancy." Ooh.
It's so interesting to see people write about this topic in this context, because I haven't gone back and looked, but I would bet the farm on the fact that we had described this exact process as digital necromancy. Man, if not like 3 years ago, at least maybe 10 years ago.
I would, yeah. We definitely used some phrase that's similar to digital necromancy.
Once we have all the transcripts done and loaded into the AI, we'll be able to search
we'll let
it
the
for sure.
AI find it for us. But okay, here's a little bit of what it says here. I'm going to skip to some parts because we're not going to read the whole thing here. But it says, imagine you attend a funeral. You know that your departed friend did not do a pre-recorded video of himself giving a speech for that occasion, yet you see him on screen as an avatar, speaking with the voice that sounds like his, addressing everyone there, thanking all the attending the service. You watch a recently produced movie and you see a long-deceased actor appear in several scenes. You're able to dialogue with a daughter who died some time ago as you view her avatar on screen. She's able to answer your immediate questions as if she was still alive. Are the above imaginary happenings from a science fiction movie, or perhaps a prediction of future possibilities? No! The technology to make them real is already here. When beloved comedian Moses Lim passed away, he was seen addressing those who attended his funeral in an AI-created video. His voice was digitally generated, and the clip showed his likeness addressing viewers in Mandarin. If you watch the movie Rogue One, okay, so they go through a few of these examples of AI and how it has changed things. Now they get to this part here where it says cybernetic reanimation, good or bad. This is known as cybernetic reanimation, this idea of, resurrecting dead people with AI. The process where AI brings deceased people back in digital form. It is done by algorithms trained to analyze the individual's digital footprint, online videos, emails, photos, and using tools like generative AI such as ChatGPT and image and video generations like DALL-E 2 to recreate them. Now, this is something that had been discussed by Ray Kurzweil, who was originally one of the I think he was like the head engineer at Google at one point, and he's known for inventing a whole bunch of stuff. And the famous story for Ray Kurzweil is that his father passed away. He really couldn't let that go, and so he promised himself and to his father or whoever else that he will resurrect his father one day. It's part of his great mission. And so when you start hearing about this type of process where you take all the available data, perhaps even the DNA at some point, and throw it into an AI, and so that they can reanimate your deceased loved one. All the technologies are available now. While CGI tech has already made it possible to de-age actors, this new technology goes even further, allowing quote-unquote resurrections of sorts. And yes, it's already happening. It can be argued that there are some positives in such developments. So these are this article does a decent job of outlining both sides of the conversation, but they bullet point the positives that could come out of this. It gives extended time for emotional closure after a death, i.e., with grief issues are still very raw. Like when grief issues are still very raw. It preserves memories in an interactive way. What movie was it where you can visit your memories or something? I forget. There's movies already like this. It injects creativity and education. Having an avatar of Alexander the Great regale his conquests would be more engaging than reading it in a history book. Oh, reading is just so slow. We just get this AI to tell us. Financial harvest can be reaped by actors for future appearances in movies, as Singapore actor Gurmit Singh expressed. But we need to ask these questions. What are the possible dangers posed by digital resurrection? What does the Bible say? How should we as Christians respond to cybernetic reanimation? And they bring up some decent points here. I'll give them credit. 1, accuracy of depiction of persons, particularly when it is presented as a first-person account. So yeah, if they're being presented as like, this is pretty much him or them or this person, that could be an issue. 2, maintaining the integrity of the deceased's real personhood. Yeah. A digital resurrection can only provide an incomplete representation of a deceased person, turning them into a zombified version or functional ghost. Interacting with a zombified version and forcing it to comment on contemporary world issues or cultural situations can be problematic. So yes, of course. 3, respect for the decisions of the deceased or his family. So this is also, these topics will come up. And Basil, I tend to wonder if we are going to face this issue as we get older and, the return home is imminent. We have to sign documentation that says you may not use our voice or likeness in any kind of artificial creation of our person or something. Got to put it down on paper so it doesn't go down like that. This is interesting, though. Digital resurrections allow for communication or inappropriate relationships with the deceased. It raises issues of trust, desecration, and disrespect for the person's memory and legacy. It can also undermine the real intimacy they once had with loved ones. The reputation of the deceased may also be affected. There was a digital recreation of Bruce Lee endorsing a drink in an advertisement, which completely ignored the fact that Bruce Lee never drank in real life. Yes, that's problematic. Moral and financial issues. It raises the question of ownership as well. I think this one is this is a bigger issue. I think they're hitting on something that is actually very important here. It raises the question of ownership as well, and ownership is in quotations. Who owns the digital assets and digitally resurrected icons, sometimes referred to as DLEBs of the dead person? If the digital assets are not clearly willed by the person prior to his death, this becomes an issue. Does the person become a ghost slave of their descendants or a company? So talk about necro-capitalism. While some living actors view the possibility of, quote, living and working on after passing as a bankable option, that is, they can sell the rights to their image before they die, some, like the late Robin Williams, I didn't know this, Robin Williams have placed some limitations on such possibilities. Robin Williams signed a deed to prevent his image or any likeness of him being used at least 25 years after his death. So we're not going to see any Robin Williams AI apparently anytime soon, or at least without any kind of legal consequences. So yeah, that is an interesting thing. Like, who owns this stuff, especially when you're talking about like ancient people, if they're going to resurrect Alexander the Great? Well, who owns the assets to the AI Alexander the Great? Who benefits?
Well, the
from that?
idea is probably that they can't resurrect him in the sense that they're talking about because they don't have the data. I think it mostly corresponds to at least people in the generation where, maybe they have Facebook posts, authentic digital stuff that could be used to recreate them.
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
I think this probably, as far as the the technate is concerned, if the blockchain companies get their hands on it, the idea is real ID. You get your government real ID, so you can, become a part of the beast system. Maybe it's got your 23andMe info attached to it. I mean, this is the whole blockchain conversation.
It is,
really.
without saying it. Yeah, without saying it is.
And the real ID as well. I mean, maybe it'll be government, owned
well, that's
or something.
the thing. Well, I think that will be the pitch, depending on the person or the historical individual or whatever. It'll be a DAO. It'll be, hey, this information belongs to all of us, and so we all get a share of the benefits. Any kind of monetary benefits that come from this Alexander the Great icon avatar AI.
I think maybe a better example of what you're talking about would be like, I mean, I was going to say like Martin Luther King, but he has family who would still benefit from that. But, this is interesting in the conversation of like reparations, of like, what's that guy's name? Frederick Douglass or something, if he's, again, there's no digital information to bring him back alive, but, it would be descendants of the individual, see if they can track as far down, which, depending on how far back in history you go, there might be 1,000 descendants of some guy.
Well, it all also requires everybody to share their genetic information to, map out the human genome tree, to see where you land, what branch you land on. So, what kind of incentives you have with who you're descended from or whatever.
Again, it depends on the person, but
yeah, I mean, it's a debate, but yes, it's an issue. Now, I like this. Number 5, reality could be compromised. Oh, cybernetic reanimation can compromise reality. The line between the living and the deceased is blurred. This may contribute to more mental health issues for those already afflicted with emotional challenges. Yeah, I'm glad they recognize that reality could be compromised.
What would it be like to live in a world where reality was compromised by digital reproductions of people's face? Man, could you imagine if AI was able to perfectly replicate people's faces and voices and you couldn't trust anything anybody told you on the internet? Man, so glad we don't live in that world.
I think we're already there. I know that this is the problem with like mainline church kind of stuff, right? They're always reacting. They're never getting in front of these types of issues. Delaying healthy grief work, okay, and then theological and pastoral issues. Humans are created by God in His image, have unique identities and dignity in Him. The creating of an AI replica and setting it up for communication purposes between the living and the dead dishonors the actual deceased person. In some situations, it can make an eternal idol of an inaccurate or fake identity of the person. In providing a way to avoid the pain of grief from death, it will remove the pressing urgency of humans to reflect more deeply about one's mortality and eternity. So, okay. I am surprised they don't necessarily bring up the eschatological reasons for this, but they do mention scriptural and theological problems posed by digital resurrection. They bring up bearing false witness, which I think people listening to this show are pretty up to speed on the idea of bearing false witness. Hurting the good name of the deceased. They cite Proverbs 22:1 and Ecclesiastes 7 to, just respecting the dead type of thing. Stealing the person of the deceased, avoiding one's mortality, the reality of death, hell, and heaven. Bypassing grief. It's all kind of like the same things as earlier. They just have some scripture to go with it. Devaluing the dignity of one made in God's image. Here we go. Fake Christ and the dark side. There we go. Replica, another AI platform, has made it possible for people to dialogue in real with digital versions of historical figures such as Napoleon and even Jesus. But it's not the real Jesus. Thank you, Salt and Light, for telling us the AI Jesus is not the real Jesus. Even if the algorithm draws from only biblical records, It will still need input from scholars regarding historical backgrounds, context of the narratives, hermeneutics, and more. The Jesus depicted will speak according to the sources used, whether conservative or liberal interpretations, but it will not be the real and living Christ. This is
Wow, such
forbidden.
insight.
This is forbidden territory. Scripture specifically forbids communication with those who have passed into eternity, and they cite Leviticus 19:31, Leviticus 26:27, Deuteronomy 18:10-13, and Isaiah 8:19 and 20. Doing so opens the door for the dark side to attack. It's just the dark side. Movies like Pet Sematary, Flatliners, and The Lazarus Effect portray the unpredictable dangers of attempting to breach the boundaries between life and death. I'm glad they're using Hollywood propaganda to make their point.
Well, you know, it goes back to what I was talking about the magic mirror on the wall thing. You know,
Yes,
AI
yeah.
being an example of almost a type of mirror gazing, and in mirror gazing, the practice of, you know, using a mirror as a way to divine sort of supernatural conversations with whoever's on the other side. You know, AI, an explicit sort of reflection of humanity,
Yeah, the worst and the best. Yeah.
informed by and designed to reflect human thinking back at itself. And like mirror gazing, you know, the idea is you might see your reflection, but whoever is speaking with your reflection is
right.
not who you're looking at. And so in this particular case, the Jesus case, you know, yeah, you might be mirror gazing in hopes to talk to Jesus in how he might have been, but the reality is you have no guarantee, you know, who or what you're actually talking to. The illusion is built in to the ritual, which is why I encourage all of my occult practicing friends out there. There's no reason that you should be trusting anything that you come in contact with, because that's a childish way to think about supernatural entities on the other side.
Mm-hmm. How should we as Christians respond to cybernetic reanimation? First, we need to differentiate cybernetic reanimation from digital necromancy. All right, we're starting to split some hairs here. Cybernetic reanimation is using AI to bring back likenesses of the deceased for entertainment, education, or remembrance. Digital necromancy is where AI allows real-time interaction with the dead. Now, hold on. Salt and light. Are they really talking to the dead? Because the way they make it sound, digital necromancy is where AI allows real-time interaction with the dead, as if it's completely true that they are interacting with the dead. It presupposes that they are. You know, I'm not saying that they don't, and certainly I think there could be some demonic entities that can pose as any individual in such a, you know, a medium. But I don't know,
they're
it's just
having this
interesting how they-
conversation for the first time, Gons. All these
Okay. All right, I'll let it
outlets
go.
don't
I'll let
have
it go.
10 years of experience thinking
and
about
start
these
yelling
things.
at the clouds. Humans want to remember and commemorate their loved ones. We already seek to let the dead live on through images, videos, relics, heirlooms, audio recordings. But these modes, even cybernetic reanimation in some cases, are different from digital necromancy. The key difference is that in digital necromancy, there is dialogue and interaction taking place. The deceased is, quote unquote, resurrected by AI to be related to us, related to as if it is a live person dialoguing with the living in real time. Okay? So I think they confuse themselves even more. Cybernetic reanimation is fairly neutral in some areas. In the case of AI clip of Moses Lim addressing his mourners, so this was the comedian who, you know, had an AI avatar address his audience at his funeral. Apparently, it was produced by a close friend with the permission from the family. It reflected accurately his character and spirit. It was akin to being pre-recorded from pre-recorded videos, accepted by all as not the real Moses, and did not offer two-way communication with the AI Moses. Digital necromancy is dangerous, and Christians should be warned against engaging in it. So, you know, this is a fine line, though, because any AI I mean, what is an AI? You're interacting with it, you know. So if there is a let's say Alexander the Great AI chat, if you're interacting with it, is that digital necromancy? If I ask the AI Alexander the Great, how the chicken tasted back in the day or something?
I don't know. What does Salt and Light say? Salt and Light's
They're
the
saying it
expert,
is.
Apparently.
They're saying it is.
Yeah. Well,
they're saying
there
if
you
it's
go.
just
I
if
trust
it's
Salt
just
and Light.
AI that's presenting some kind of visual thing or some entertainment thing, that's fine. But if you're
Well,
interacting
I know
with
you
it,
keep going back to these old historian. I don't think it really counts if it's just like pretend to be Alexander the Great. There's no digital data on Alexander the Great. I think if you go do these historical figures, I think that's a totally different conversation than if you uploaded your wife's Facebook account and all her voicemails and uploaded her email inbox sent folder. I don't know if I don't know what this conversation is if we're talking about Alexander the Great, but if you're legitimately trying to create a digital reflection of a loved one, I think that's a much more interesting conversation.
Right. The approach to each would need to be different. And so, yeah, they talk about the approach to cyber reanimation being one thing, and obviously digital necromancy being another thing. And they list some resources here. I don't see any of our stuff in here, but that's okay. We're not. We haven't been talking about this for 13 years, Basil. We're just a couple of weirdos.
So what are we to
No one
get from
cares.
this? Why are we? What's the? Is this just Salt and Light catching up? People starting to think about it?
It's
I mean, it's
just
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty good for them to actually be attempting to do it. It's a pretty
I was gonna say
easy,
the conversation.
it's a pretty easy category to have nowadays.
Yeah, the conversation starting is great, but also I need more clarity from Salt and Light. What are we talking about here? If you're chatting with a chat bot that you made of your deceased wife, is that digital necromancy or not?
Yeah. Well, ask Samuel. Samuel wasn't very happy about
No, he wasn't.
bringing.
But he went to the Witch of
being
Endor.
Awoken from the grave.
Yeah, that was through the Witch of Endor, though. Like I don't know if AI. I mean, unless Ray Kurzweil is some kind of witch or warlock, which wouldn't be very surprising.
I think that's obvious that he is.
Type. So this leads us obviously to this conversation about AI. Well, we've been talking about AI, but another point to be made here, another news story.
Artificial intelligence.
This is coming from Reuters, and Reuters says if AI doesn't kill your company, it will make it stronger. So Basil, I think we're going to survive if AI doesn't kill us.
I don't know, man.
Stronger.
The AI might kill us.
If a company can survive the upheaval caused by the adoption of artificial intelligence, AI will help it thrive in the long run. A study presented by the European Central Bank Conference has found. I'm glad the European Central Bank has a lot of hope in people that can withstand the AI takeover. And this is coming from the document that the European Central Bank published last week, or yesterday, I guess it was yesterday, titled The Transformative Power of AI. Welcome address by Christine Lagarde, president of the ECB, at the ECB conference on the transformative power of AI, economic implications and challenges in Frankfurt, Germany. And the authors, who used data from U.S. Census Bureau and surveys covering the period between 2017 and 2021, found early adopters of AI in the manufacturing sector saw their productivity drop as they replaced human workers with robots. Their findings go against the prevailing narrative, suggesting that AI makes work more productive and augments jobs in many cases rather than automating them away. Quote, in the short term, we see a lot of pain, Christina McElrend, one of the authors of the paper, told the conference. She explained the drop in productivity as a side effect of AI interfering with manufacturers' established practices, such as keeping low inventories. Over time, however, these firms began outperforming on all counts: sales growth, productivity, and employment, provided that they managed to make it through the upheaval. I find this interesting because this is what's happening to our government right now. We are getting an AI facelift. All the government procedures and the back end and stuff at the consumer sort of level, I guess you can call it, of our government. They are getting, this is part of Elon's plan with DOGE, right? Going in there, exposing stuff, but also putting in the infrastructure for more efficiency. And so if that's the case, then yeah, we're going to have a little downside, and then it'll skyrocket because I guess we're going AI. Quote, surviving this seems like part of the problem, McEllerin, a researcher at the University of Toronto, said. She said this rebound did not generally happen at older companies, which also tend to be larger and, quote, struggle to get this done. So there you go. We're about to see the fourth industrial revolution really kick in, and it means that, businesses and companies that embrace AI, they're going to be fine. I guess they're going to be stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But people who don't will cease to exist, apparently, which makes me kind of bullish on us, Basil. I think we can survive this AI rise.
So far, AI podcasts haven't usurped the throne. However, I will say, as far as all the stuff on the back end of doing a podcast, the secret stuff, the administrative stuff, all the nonsense that really kills you on off show days, it would be nice to see if AI could actually help with any of that stuff. So far, have not had a lot of luck. Have definitely spent some off show days trying to figure out if, by the grace of God, there was some possible way that the non-show day work could possibly be any less grueling. And so far, not so much, unfortunately.
No, yeah, it's the same. So there you go. There's some AI updates. Thankfully, the Central Bank of Europe is telling us everything will be fine if you survive the dip with AI. So congratulations, everybody.
Certainly in the dip right now. I will say it is interesting as far as the dip goes. A reliable sort of AI, podcast revolution has yet to happen. I'm not totally convinced that it's impossible quite yet. It's become clear lately that the very special DIY vibe of shows like ours, the ones that we sort of with a wink and a smile, those very human mistakes, the very human moments in a show that are just simply there to prove to you that AI has not yet taken over the show. Turns out that the sort of production quality of a show like this does tend to make an effect on whether people come back. If there was like a AI maybe filter we could run things through, give you and I some more, some better cheekbones, maybe upscale the video, perhaps.
We're gonna Snapchat ourselves. We're gonna do that whole thing. We're gonna fake our
AI automatic jingle player. Maybe has a full database of all the jingles and can pull up and play any jingle at any moment for the perfect moment. That would be nice. Take a load off your fingers, I guess. There's still hope, Gons. We just got to wait for Elon to solve those problems for us at the government level.
Great, thank you. Speaking of government, Trump did speak. Here's his announcement.
Liberation Day. The Liberation Day speak.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal. That means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that.
Good job.
This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence.
Ooh.
For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before.
Those things contradict. can't make it great
What?
again and make it greater than ever before. I mean, it's
I think there's nothing logically wrong with that. That sounds fine to me.
okay. All right.
Okay. Oh, so that's just a little clip of the thing.
Just a little clip of the thing, yeah, because he's
All
doing
right.
it right now. So
Declaration of
Speaking of
Economic
which.
Independence, baby. We're free. We're free. We'll see how that goes.
From the economic hitmen, apparently.
Certainly going to trigger a whole swath of economic clapback. It's going to anger some various establishment figures. We're going to hear. You know what's crazy, though, Gons? I don't know if you've experienced this, but for me, the past couple weeks, grocery shopping, significantly cheaper. I can't even really put my finger on what exactly is like which prices are down or whatever. But I'll give you a little secret, folks. I am not very creative when it comes to groceries. I just find what works and I just do that over and over and over. I buy the exact same groceries every single time. I just don't want to think about it. I just put in the order and I pick it up because who's got time for that? Plus, I'm not to be trusted. Walking down the grocery aisle, if I'm, especially if I'm hungry or like depending on what vibe I'm feeling, like I am not to be trusted at the grocery store. So I've tried to sort of not automate it per se, but just like take out a lot of the choices that could come my way. And great strategy. I recommend lots of people do that. Great way to save money. And what used to cost me $120 a week is down to like 75. I'm buying the exact same stuff and it's down like $50 every week, which is huge for me.
I noticed things were going down a couple weeks ago. It is back up.
Is it back
Thank
up
you,
for
Gavin. Gavin,
Gavin.
Release another podcast, man. Another one with
Yeah.
I don't know, somebody that'll put some sense into your brain or something.
No
All
longer
right.
lost degrees, says same as Basil. Yeah, okay, there you go. Well, pay attention, folks. See if things have been going down for me. However, again, I can still brag. I'll say weather's warming up. The chickens are laying double the eggs. So I've gone from having a sort of perfect balance of eating the amount of eggs that the chickens make every day to once again overflowing with an unimaginable amount of eggs. I'm going to start exporting.
Send them to me. Yes,
I'm gonna
export to me. I won't put any tariffs on you.
Yeah, see, this is the parallel economy, folks.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Did we have any other art or anything we needed to share? Actually, I don't mean to impress the end of the show.
Why don't we do this real quick?
Okay.
Sleepy update.
Do you want fries with that?
This is not
I don't
what I
want
was
to
suggesting,
end.
but okay.
I don't want to end. I don't want to end on the tariffs. It just feels kind of
okay.
So here's thomasnet.com, world's largest robotic
You gotta
arm.
do the Flippy update. It's the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, now you can talk about the Flip.
World's
Flipper.
strongest robotic arm sets new world record.
Claimed the new record for world's strongest robotic arm, and it took a unique approach to get there. The Massachusetts startup is showcasing a prototype robotic arm that can lift more than 7,000 pounds, far surpassing the record formerly held by a Fanuc robot that lifted more than 5,000 pounds. But instead of relying on hydraulics to achieve the milestone, Rise's prototype draws power from a fluid-free linear actuator technology that the company calls belt-drolic. The electric super jammer features a belt and pulley system instead of oil, which Rise said can help cut operating costs and emissions while boosting energy efficiency. One of the key components of the system is the belt cylinder, which is available in 2-ton or 25-ton load class. The cylinder houses Rise's belts in a block and tackle arrangement around the power unit, allowing them to feed into each other as the system either extends or retracts. The company offers both single and double-acting cylinders to provide options for either maximum extension or retraction or more versatility. Rise said its belt-based system offers advantages over traditional hydraulic systems like faster operation speeds, along with smoother and more precise actuation. The system also cuts down on noise and allows users to securely hold loads without using power. Haitin Sonpal, CEO of Rise Robotics, said his company is pushing the limits of what's possible with robotic automation, and the company invited media and potential investors out to see the Superjammer in action. The company scheduled a March event just outside Boston, where the prototype is set to receive its official Guinness World Records certificate.
There you go. 7,000 pounds using belts. Is this an engineering
Exciting
masterpiece?
Wow. It's time to it's almost time to start having ground-based geopolitical,
Arm wrestling matches.
strife settled by robot arm wrestling matches. Of course, that's how. It's not very well known. A lot of people don't know this, but this was a part of the new age. This is what Space Force was created for. That most space-based international conflicts are solved by robot arm wrestling in space. Look it up. There's the Canada Arm 2 representing the West. China's got their arm. Who recently got their arm? I think it was India got in the match there. So that's usually how we solve disputes in space. But it's about time. There's no need for this Gaza nonsense. No need for this Ukraine nonsense. These countries just need to put their ground-based arm wrestling robots to work. And this looks like a pretty good sign for the West, Gons.
I think this will save the world. We'll have world peace, peace, and then sudden destruction. But, until then, peace, peace with these giant robotic arms picking up cars and slapping other nations' robots for being...
Yeah, that's the other option. Have you seen these slap fights, professional slap fights? Have you seen these?
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, we could skip the arm wrestling. We can just go straight to slap fights.
Yeah, but it's pretty unbiblical. I can't really get behind that because it's, Jesus tells us to turn the other cheek. And
well,
I don't know that's.
I don't know if you've ever seen a slap fight, Gons, but you do. You do alternate cheeks and hands on these slap fights. But
I know, but if everybody turned the other cheek, eventually there's the people. You run out of people doing the slap.
Run out of cheeks. Idea, right? You only got two cheeks. You can only turn it once, and then you're out of cheeks. Yeah. All right. So you're saying there's no more art from producers?
There is.
Okay.
There is.
All right.
Yeah.
Show it to me.
Okay. CanaryCry.art. Help us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry. This first one is from, let me double check the name here, Warriors of Yah. It says, Shalom, boys. Made this in response to the story y'all read about the scientists growing zombie-ish meat bags for organs and meat. And you want to describe this meme? It's pretty good.
Yeah, so we've got a two-cell meme here. The top is the movie poster for the film The Island, which I believe was a picture film about having clones of yourself that you can inhabit, something like that. And then the bottom one is the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Leonardo DiCaprio watching TV, pointing with a beer in his hand that says, "Scientists, let's do that." Yes,
pointing at the island.
Yeah, the scientists certainly have been. I don't know what comes first. It's kind of interesting because, of course, the concept of predictive programming says that, they put out the movie because the technology already exists and is to acclimate the public. But who knows? Maybe sometimes the scientists are like, oh, we should have thought of that. These Hollywood guys are pretty smart.
It probably is that the dark lizard people scientists at the top, they're already doing it, but they got to get the peon human scientists to jump onto the idea, and so you give them a beer, and then you make them watch The Island, and then you give them ideas. It's all predictive programming. All predictive programming.
That's very good, Gons. Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you, Warrior of Yah.
Thank you, Warrior of Yah. We have another one here from Dame I Anon.
Oh, Dame Anon is back. Thank you.
She says, Gons was right. It was a katana and a sheath. Not two katanas. But don't you worry. You're plenty cool in my book, Gons. Thank you. Cooler than Leonardo. All right. That's awesome. I like Raphael. I related to Raphael's pouty ways. Don't listen to Basil. Bonus. Gons with his gonslings, which is this image.
Yeah, very, very fun. I'll say Ianon as far as like composition goes, when it comes to sketching or drawing, they are choosing some very complicated like body I don't know what to call it, placements,
Compositions. Yeah.
composition. Yeah, the way that the bodies are sort of laid out is very action packed, very complicated, lots of
And
angles,
different poses. Yeah.
very impressive. It's definitely been practicing. This is very fun. We have here samurai guns. He's got his prayer hands hat. He's got his katana and his sheath there, of course. And he's got the two little samurai babies next to him. You've got the samurai princess near your foot there, who is in some sort of leap action with two sai pigtails flying in the wind, very action-packed, very enthusiastic. And way up in the sky, like some sort of attacking spider monkey, you've got your young son with a katana raining death from above. Looks like
it's pretty accurate.
He's got us thirsty for blood here, it looks like, to take out, become the man of the house.
You know, there was a study that it's a couple years old, but I was made aware of it over the weekend. Parents of boys age faster.
Yeah,
and I looked at it and I thought, oh, that is so true. That is so true. And then it really explained my parents.
You've already got one foot in the grave, Gons, and I'm glad that this show has given you an outlet to at least, clear out some of the parental clutter that seems to build up throughout the week.
Yeah, just yell at you instead of the kids, because it'd be a bad example if I yelled at the kids. But thank you, Dame I Anon. Appreciate your artwork, and appreciate all the artists coming in to help build the culture behind the community here at the Canarium. Go to canarycry.art to submit your art.
That's right. And it's fun because not only will the art be shown on the show, but it goes into my handy dandy art folder that goes all over the place. We use it for products in the supply drop. We use it for newsletters. We use it for all sorts of stuff. It's a great way to make a lasting impact on the culture, which is what it's about now. That's what we're building. We've taken down the mainstream media culture. The world is in turmoil. They're losing control. And now it's time to build back up the culture. So that's what we're doing here in 2025.
Build back Basil, baby.
That's right. And I recommend everybody should do it. I mean, I mean this in sort of existential earnestness. Like, if you're sitting back, you're just watching things going, maybe listening to a podcast here or there, and just watching the world move around you. Now is the time. God has decided it is the time for whatever it is, whatever skill, whatever interest, whatever passion, whatever action that you can take in your life. Every little action counts in the spiritual war that we're in. So I highly recommend people obviously go back to basics, pray every day, get in the scripture, turn from sin, and focus your mind and your heart on what God is asking you from this time in history. And of course, it can be very difficult because life is jam-packed with inconveniences and struggles and obstacles that it is our job to overcome on a daily basis. We might think that, what else could we possibly do? What is there room for? Well, just ask, folks. He will answer your question. And perhaps it has something to do with the value for value model, coming in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Now, we've thanked those who come in financially. We thank those who come in with their art, but there's also another secret layer to the show, and those are the producers helping out with their time, people who help us out with all sorts of back-end processes, kind of like the Clippies. Clipping all those videos. Thanks. Clipping. I'll tell you what, I've actually been a Clippy recently. I've been trying to work AI into I don't know, literally anything we could possibly do. And I've been playing around with a clipping service. So if you follow the Instagram, which, yes, we do have an Instagram. We've got a few thousand people who follow us there. But if you're not following us on Instagram, go check it out, because I'm running some experiments over on the Instagram, and I'm learning a lot from them. But if you could help me out, give me some engagement over on the Instagram, some feedback, share it, like, engage, max engage, the whole thing. That would be very helpful. But You know, we're making some changes around here. I'm not sure the usual monotonous social posts, the automatic ones we send out when we go live, not sure if those are going to survive. Instead, I'm going to be focusing the Instagram on having a little bit more fun. So join me for this grand experiment of how Basil can use AI to help out the Instagram channel. So go help us out there. I don't even know what our handle is. Just search Canary Cry News Talk or Canary Cry Radio. I think it's Canary Cry News Talk. And follow there and say hi to me, because I'll be hanging out once in a while. What was I going to say? Oh, thanks to the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Timestamps. Yes, thank you to the timestampers, the faithful, the consistent, the amazing timestampers. Who are we thanking today, Gons?
Morgan E. coming in with
Thank
the
you, Morgan E.
Yep, appreciate it.
Love it. I will give a shout out to, we have gained one Instagram follower on during the show in the last 2 hours. So thank you to Box Meta X for following on Instagram.
All right.
Look at that. Things are paying off, baby. Other than that, thank you to Jam, who leads the Telegram and also gives us links. Thank you to Adam42 for managing the Discord. If you're a Telegram or Discord person, you want to get connected, you can go to canarycry.party. You'll see buttons for that. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for every beautiful thing that you do, Clankanifius. And other than that, you can just share the show. No, don't share the show. This show is a special, exclusive space. We're done. We're done trying to lure in people to the show, okay? So just enjoy it for yourself and keep it a secret. Keep the show a secret. And if anybody comes to you and they say, hey, do you know any good podcasts I should listen to? You say, no. And we call that rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Big shout out to Buddy Stoic, who just now, this exact moment, followed us on Instagram.
That's right.
Buddy. Thank you, Buddy. Gons, do you have any last words?
Last words. I will say an early happy anniversary to Chris Cillizza. I think tomorrow marks I don't know how many years since he joined CNN before he got fired. Yes, 2017, which makes it 8 years ago. Right?
Wow.
Everyone tag Chris Cillizza, sorry, on X and tell him how much they miss him over at CNN.
Wait, it's his anniversary of working for CNN?
Yes, like his anniversary of like joining CNN.
Ah, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
his big day. All right,
Yeah.
well, thanks, Chris Cillizza, for that. Okay, one last reminder to join the text message alert system. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Again, just Canary, no punctuation, to 877-740-3226. We'll send you a message before we go live, and most importantly, you can text us back at that number, and people will know when you text and they say, that guy's in my area code, like 540, who said, yay, got off work early, looking forward to spending a few hours with you guys. Has the first quarter supply drop been shipped? Yes, it has, 540. Other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time, but until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Buy gold, buy!
Another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.